Hey folks, getting ready to install this metal rudder on my Hobie Pro Angler. The reason you go for a metal rudder, gives you crisper just turning radius and just more turning power in general. So we're going to take the plastic one off and put this one on there. So these two little plastic discs are really just spacers, and we're going to want them lined up right there. And rather than try to hold these in place while we assemble, we're gonna take the easy route and get some of that super glue on there. So I'll just go ahead and scooch some around in there. We'll stick it on there using the screwdriver to make sure it's aligned pretty good, and repeat process. We got that aligned. I think I'm just going to leave that. I think I'm going to leave that in place and just. Yep. Let that sit a few minutes. We're going to just put it over here. We'll jump right into the next step, which we need to access some hardware underneath there. So I'm going to remove this cover and the accessory I have on there for my torpedo. Okay, we're going to go after this center pin here, loosen that. I'm going to hold the rudder. Set that aside there. So we're just lifting this up, and we got that pin. Might need to tap that out of place. So this one's seen some use, so we're working it off. Okay, now that is just going to drop down here, and what this allows us to do is access all of this. We got a flat head screw and an opposing Phillips. So I think what makes the most sense, I'm going to untie this knot here and bring it topside to work on. All right, so I have an awl here that I'm using to just jam into that knot and just loosen it up from multiple angles. Just make sure that as you do this, your flesh is not on the other side, because if you slip, yeah, you don't want to jam this into your own hand. That would make this installation take a little longer with a trip to the hospital. We got the flat on this side, and we'll do the Phillips here on the other. Okay, that's backed out. With the Phillips out and the flat still in there, this is all kind of spring loaded. I'm actually going to take my awl and push that out. So that collet, as soon as it comes out, this is all going to lift in one direction. So I'm going to try and keep it compressed and make note of which way the spring was in there. Okay, it's trying to push back this direction. Yep. And look down in there. Look at that spring. Look at how it's oriented. So all you're gonna do is take this off. We're gonna release our one that we worked on. try to keep it that same orientation. All right, so we have these side by side. One thing I do want to kind of point out, when you overlay them, you know, you get a little bit more length, a little more surface area with the Boonedox one. That helps with the turning radius. So this was the orientation it came out, like this. You want this one to come in the same way. So we're gonna go, unfortunately we've left this spring in place. We're gonna hook right in there, and we're gonna bring this down and slide it forward. And all we're looking to do is to align that hole with this little collet. Let's look through there, see how our alignment is coming. Not there, there. I'm starting to see it. So kind of scoot that around and get that in there. Okay. All right, I'm most of the way through. I think just for the sake of getting things started, we'll get that Phillips threaded so it's ready to go. I still have a little bit of that kicked out there, and I'm just pulling it towards me. Let me see if I can tap it. All right, I got that flush finally. I actually had to give it a little bit of an assistance here with the vice grips, kind of mashing it in. And at this point, I just need to hold the flathead on one side. I'll come back in with my driver. And this will be ready to go back underneath, and we'll put the we'll tie that knot back in place. All right, that'll work. So you do want to check to make your spring is in a happy position, and this one is. It's doing its job. The way this came from the factory, it looked like it was just 2 overhand knots. So I will replicate that. All right, so let's push that up through there. It's got a little collar there, and we'll go to the top side. We'll let that sit down. We're gonna need our pin in here. I'm holding the rudder up on the bottom and pushing in here. And now that that's through, we're good. It's gonna be a little bit offset towards the back to match this. Right. Actually, this way, offset. Okay. That looks like it's seated down there. We'll go ahead and replace this center screw. Snug is good. And you know what? Before we put the cover on, let's just check and make sure that everything is working the way that it should. So. Yep, we've got good rotation there. And the rudder line, yep, is doing what it needs to do. Let me center that first. Yep, we're in good shape there. Everything's functioning the way it needs to. We can go ahead and cover this back up. Okay, that's it. I'll enjoy nice, crisp steering with my metal Boonedox Rudder. Thanks for watching.